FM.
Ek gesels met Le-Verne Wagner, sy's opvoedkundige sielkundige hier in die Laagveld. Dis 'n baie interessante onderwerp waar ons gesels. Reeds maandag op die program het ek gekuier saam met Sanka en ons het onder andere gesels daaroor dat produktiwiteit is, ons sal net daaroor gesels, produktiwiteit by huiswerkers, ouens wat die huiskantoor het, is veronderstel om heelwat hoër te wees, maar nou is daar faktore soos ouens wat miskien reeds 'n dwelmprobleem het, en nou werk hulle van die huis af en daai twee saam maak dat produktiwiteit eintlik aan die afneem is. Maar skets eers vir ons 'n prentjie rondom produktiwiteit en om van die huis af te werk.
So in Finland and Sweden, they actually did a really interesting study where they cramped down the time of the workers in the office. What they did was, instead of making it a 2-day weekend, they made it a 3-day weekend. And instead of working 8 hours, they only gave them 5 or 6 hours to work. And the amount of time that they were able to work in that short amount of time, the productivity that came out of that was significantly higher than if they had worked longer hours and for the full state of the week. Now, if we take that and we compare that to working at home, what happens is you immediately go into work mode. You're relaxed, you don't have the commute, you don't have the disconnect, you're in your own environment, and you start working really well. The challenge with that is all the other factors that go along with that. One of the nice things about going to work is the drive to work. It is the disconnect from home. It's the same as if you go to church, or if you go to a sports club, or if you go to watch a match of some sort. The drive or the time it takes for you to get from where you are in one location to another location is that disconnect and getting you ready for the next section that you're going to. There's actually an entire theory about that called the threshold theory. And that is your memory and your behavior and attitude is actually connected to the doorways, the thresholds that you walk through, which is surprisingly interesting. How many times have you walked into the kitchen and gone, I have no idea why I'm here? Then you have to return back into the room that you were before, and you go, oh, yes, it is there. It's because your memory, emotions, and personality is actually linked to the room and place that you were thinking about things. So when you're at home, you're in home mode. When you're at work, you're in work mode, and your memories are connected to that. It's the same concept as when you're trying to phone a number. You can't think of it out of your head, but the moment you see a keypad, you're like, I remember what the number is. So the whole idea of being in an environment to do a certain task brings out certain memories, brings out a certain type of personality, and influences your productivity greatly. So if you already have a predisposition to drug use or to alcoholism or to smoking or whatever the case may be, you are used to doing it in a certain environment, and changing that is very, very, very difficult.
Ek het gister weer met iemand gepraat wat vir my gesê het, ek moet werk toe gaan. Ek moet opstaan, ek moet stort, ek moet mooi aantrek, ek moet die lipstiek aansit, ek moet uitgaan, ek sal mal raak as ek van die huis af werk. En ander mense is weer gek oor die idee. Die probleem vir my rondom produktiwiteit wat hulle sê is soveel meer as mense van die huis af werk, is nie daai ding dat ek nou in plaas van 8 ure werk by die kantoor, kry ek in 5 ure meer gedoen nie. Die probleem is dat meeste mense nou 10 of 12 ure werk in plaas van 8 ure.
Again, it's that disconnect. It's that environmental, that location that you were stuck in. So if you're at home, you're like, I must sleep that extra half an hour in. I can just clap in another half an hour because I'm at home. So it's fine. This is the time I would have traveled to work. So I'll just sleep this one in. That thing of, oh, I'm almost done with this task, but it's now 5 o'clock. Normally I'd be on my commute home. No, I'll just clap in an extra half an hour's work, which always ends up being a lot later. It's the equivalent to just one more drink. So it's never just one more drink. You always end up going over and over and over. The big thing that you have to consider over here is rather, what structures have you put in place at home? Have you created a designated environment? Have you planned out your day? Have you created a spot within your house where you actually dedicate your time for work? That's a very, very, very important one. If you're just going to be sitting on your lap with your laptop on your lap in front of the TV, that's not a dedicated work, because the kids are going to come in, the dogs are going to bark, the wife or the husband's going to nag and ask for something. But if you're in an environment where you're able to close a door, immediately that creates that threshold that we were speaking about earlier. So you still need to plan, you still need to dedicate, and you still need to have schedules in place when working at home. The next thing I would say is very, very, very important is get dressed. Don't do top half professional, bottom half pajamas. Get dressed fully. And I think all of us have had that where we are definitely presentable from the waist up, because we're not going to show the camera down, but the bottom half is still pajama mode. I think in the past they called it business in the front, party at the back. Well, I think we've got a new saying now. So the problem is get dressed. We spoke about this a few months ago, where we said dress for the success you want, not the success you have. Be there, be present, get your goal. And if you want to be a CEO, dress like a CEO. Don't dress like the janitor. It is because now you're aiming towards something. Your mindset is always determined mostly by what it can see, what it can feel, and what it can do.
Ek dink mense wat van die huis af werk, moes dit ook al agtergekom het as mens sê, ag ek gaan nou 'n bietjie laat slaap en dan weet ek gaan nou my tea break gaan ek 'n bietjie gaan stort en aantrek en dan sit niks ongewoon dat jy teen 5:00 die middag nog nie eers gestort is nie. Jy sit nog steeds in werk in jou nagklere.
I think everybody I know has done that at least once or twice. Not me, obviously. I would never. The next thing is, and I read a very good article, and there was actually a speech done by an army general at a college, and that was, if you want to be successful, make your bed. And that initially doesn't make a lot of sense, but when you follow through on the thought process on that, it actually does. He's saying essentially that when you make your bed, you started your day. Your room immediately looks cleaner the moment your bed is done, and you're not tempted to climb back into it because you already put the effort into making it right. So the same concept again can apply to, if you want to go to work, get dressed fully so that you're not tempted to go, oh, I can just take the shirt off, put on my pajama top and go back to sleep. The problem with habit is you don't actually break habits. What you do is you replace them with something else. You cannot take something away without replacing it again with someone else. So if you are in an environment that is negative, or that creates a need for drugs or alcohol or anything that's going to be negative towards you, it doesn't help that you try and just break the habit. You need to replace it with something else, whether it is with exercise or meditation or whatever the case may be. But you need to change the habit, not break the habit. Psychologically, it is now a part of you. It is part of who you are. You can't just get rid of it. You've got to change it.
Het jy enige raad vir vroue wat van die huis af werk in hierdie tyd? Party van hulle voel te sleg nou miskien om die klein goed in 'n dagsorg te sit. Hulle voel ek is nou by die huis. Ek kan maar na die kind kyk en werk. Of dan is daar net die mammas in die middag sou jy nou nog by die werk gewees het, maar nou kom die kinders van die skool af huis toe. Nou het jy nog 3 of 4 ure se werk wat jy moet doen terwyl die kinders daar is. Hoe op aarde balanseer mens daardie twee?
Very, very difficult. You had the advantage of when you were at work, the children respected that you weren't home, you were out for a purpose. And when you're home for a purpose. Now you're at home for a purpose, but it's 2 purposes. So why can't you mix the 2? The truth is, you actually shouldn't. You can try and you'll be successful to a point, but you cannot mix the 2. So this is when you have to get really strict with the children, ask them nicely, I need you to respect what mommy's doing. Mommy's going to have a time, put up a clock, put up a schedule that says mommy's going to be available from this time to this time, unless it's an emergency, and then you come get mom. But if mom's not, if there isn't an emergency, then this is mom's schedule from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Mommy's working. Mommy's taking a 15-minute coffee break between 4 and 4:15 and working from 4:15 to 5:30 again. And then mommy's all yours again. And I come in, I make dinner, we chat, I help you with homework, etc. but you have to make yourself a priority. Remember, not only do you need to succeed in what you are doing, you're also setting the example for the children on how to set boundaries in their own lives. So by telling them it's okay to cross boundaries all the time, it's all right, it's okay, cross the boundaries all the time. But you're telling them is it's okay for other people to also cross their boundaries, that they also need to be very flexible in how they allow people into their lives. So you are setting a very strong role model structure again by being at home. Unfortunately, a parent's job is never done. You are always the example. So no, set your time and say, this is the time I'm available unless there's an emergency. And here's your schedule as well. This is what I expect you to do while mom is busy. So your time is now going to be from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock to finish your homework, from 4:30 to 5:30 to do chores around the house, and then we get time together afterwards. So don't just let them not be busy. And if we're talking about toddlers and little ones, don't feel guilty about it. I know that's easier said than done, but the truth is they are going to distract you. They're not going to understand why you are, for lack of better wording, because there is better wording, why you are almost rejecting them at one point and then calling them for cuddles on another point. So you need to, if you're able to put them in daycare, put them in daycare. If you're able to get a helper to help you at the house, look after the child, do that, and don't feel guilty about it. Your location has changed, not the rules, not the structure, just the location. I am very aware that you hear your baby crying or you hear the toddler fall and all of a sudden they're crying. You want to stand up and go and look after them, make sure they're okay. Whatever has happened to them, you want to go take care of it. You don't actually need to. They will be all right. The helper will help you. Taking that 5 minutes out to check that they're okay, that's fine. But the moment you get sucked into an hour of caring, it means they want your attention. They don't need it, they want it.
Ek dink as mense enkellopende persoon is wat alleen bly, dan kan dit darm baie soos 'n begrafplaas voel. Baie stil en ek dink dit is dan maklik om te sien, maar hier het nou eintlik 'n paar dae verbygegaan sonder dat ek 'n mens regtig van aangesig tot aangesig gesien het. Wat is jou raad aan daardie persone wat dan eintlik so vereensaam op 'n manier?
The one thing that is coming across quite a lot lately is the sense of social anxiety. And this, especially with people who live alone and work alone at home, is the sense of, oh, I haven't seen anybody in ages. Oh, goodness, I'm just not in the mood. I don't have the energy. I don't have the effort. But it's sort of like a muscle. You need to keep practicing seeing people in order to feel comfortable with it. And to remind yourself the whole time, I am a human being. I need social interaction. I need to help define who I am through other people all the time as well. I need adventures. I need to be challenged, and not just via Zoom or some form of virtual interaction, with actual interaction. You need to schedule visits. You need to schedule going out. Just, I would say, once a day or once every 2 or 3 days, make sure you go out for a cup of coffee, even if it's just by yourself. Phone a friend, ask them to come join you, grab a book, go sit in the cafe, drink your coffee, get out, see the world. It is so refreshing to the soul to be able to do something different. It's almost the same as a change is as good as a holiday. You come back in a good mood, you come back feeling inspired again, and like it was worth the time that you spent being alone. While you're at home, put music on. Put music on in the background. Have a hobby, something that you can stand up, do for 2 minutes, come back, whether it's crosswords or paintings, knitting, woodwork, it doesn't matter. Have a hobby that you can do in between work. Remember, you are not a machine. I always say there's 24 hours in every single day that's dedicated to every person on the planet. Don't misuse them by being so incredibly guilt-ridden that you're not doing enough, that you spend all of them doing the wrong stuff. Try getting into doing other things too.
Soos 'n spier wat 'n mens moet strek, want baie keer voel dit so 'n bietjie styf en stram, maar jy moet vir jouself sê, dis soos wanneer jy stywe spiere het na 'n oefening, jy moet juis aanhou beweeg om dit weer reg te kry. Nog 'n bietjie laaste raad om mee af te sluit, Le-Verne?
Remember, everybody's actually in the same boat as you. Everybody's going through this together. So if you've got anxiety about meeting other people, I guarantee you other people have got anxiety about meeting you for the same reasons you have. If you are working from home, don't have guilt for ignoring or moving on or prioritizing yourself. You have to do what you have to do. So do it and make sure that you get a nice balance in your life. Balance, I think at this point is the one thing everybody's lacking because we've sung from one extreme to the other extreme, but you will get it right. Lucella, aanhouers wen.
100.5 FM.